Hello, okay friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to look at this Phalaenopsis orchid. Its name is Golden Leopard. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids, from what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. I have had this orchid since when I was living in New York City, so at least a year and a half. And when I first bought it, I remember it had maybe 7 buds, and it was really sensitive. And it was also, I remember it was like close to winter time that I bought it from Trader Joe's. So quite a few buds blasted, and it only eventually gave me 1 or 2 flowers. And I believe that I took a photo of its last flower and compared it. I think I shared that photo in the last video I did on this orchid. It was when it was just in spike. So you might want to check that out. But overall, I think the color of these blooms are much better, much better than its last flowering cycle. And I think it has to do with the care that I have given it. This time it only had 1 bud blast, and it was the very tiny last bud on its spike. But overall, for 5 blooms this time around, I'm actually pretty okay with it, and I really just love the color of the spots and the pale yellow in the background, and then also the lip is also a very saturated, I would call it, I guess, a magenta color. And overall, I usually keep it about 1/3 of the roots, bottom thirds of the root touching water or submerged in water. And as you can see in the background there is indeed a dead root, but I haven't removed it because it hasn't really caused any issue with the water. It's not making the water white or gray, so I'm just not gonna take the orchid out. And here you see that there is a new root tip growing from an existing water root, so that is really a good thing. And on the left here you see that this root, okay, at one point it stopped growing, and then from where my finger is right there, it just continued to grow for a little bit more. So that tells me that this orchid is really liking the full water culture method, and I use the true water roots as the level of my water, to kind of gauge, okay, water roots or new water roots coming out, that will be the lowest level. I want to make sure that these new root tips are always covered in water so that it is continuing to adapt to the whole full water culture method. Here is the clip of this orchid's full bloom. So like I said before, it's 5 blooms with 1 bud blast. But overall, I'm really happy about its rebloom. I'll get any flower I can get. um, one of the questions that I get really often from subscribers is, how do I fertilize full water culture orchids? What I have done usually with these full water culture orchid is I use only quarter strength fertilizer, and then I will soak them for 15-20 minutes, and then I dump the water out and only keep the bottom third of the orchid roots in the fertilized water. I'm kind of lazy, so I don't really dump out everything and then add fresh reverse osmosis water for it. I don't rinse out the roots because for me, it hasn't really been soaking in fertilized water of quarter strength hasn't create any root issues for me. But I've tried with half strength. 50% strength, and that actually caused the root to somewhat get a little burned, or and one root actually rotted from that. So I would scale back to quarter strength. That was just some of the experiment I was doing on other phals. So I do that, but I don't dump out all the water and then add fresh new water into it. I don't do that because I'm lazy, and reverse osmosis water is kind of expensive. So I just continue to just, keep 1/3 of the roots submerged in quarter strength um, fertilizer water. Um, but when I soak it, though, sometimes I keep the water level really high up until the base of the orchid and let them soak for 15-20. Sometimes I only do half of the roots. It just depends on what I observe, and depends on how much fertilized water I prepare. Because I do need to make sure all full water culture orchids are given this water for every watering cycle. Other than that, I really tried not to disturb the orchid by taking it out, and that's why I haven't trimmed off that one root in the water that's obviously dead. Because, like I said, it hasn't really caused the water to become cloudy or murky. So I just basically leave it alone as is. And as you can see, this orchid is liking it, and it's rewarding me with 5 beautiful blooms. So I am really excited and glad that I can use this video to share the blooms with you. For the rest of the video, like all my orchid bloom videos, I would include a bunch of photos I have taken of this particular orchid from the spike stage, the budding stage, to the flower stage. I hope you like the photos, and I hope that you like today's video. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please consider subscribing and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao everyone!